Hello my friends and welcome back to Slay the Spire 2. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be revisiting the Necrobinder after the numerous changes that this character received in the last two patches. So they closed off some infinite loops and then brought some of them back, nerfed a couple of the key defensive cards for this character, so you don't get to win for free as often on the Necrobinder, with slightly fewer infinites, and the ability to draw your entire deck has been slowed down a little bit, so you are going to see more picks of more of the fair cards for this character. So let's jump in and play the Necrobinder. Before I begin, though, I do want to take a quick moment to say I just hit, today, as of the time of recording, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, so I really want to say thank you so much to everyone who's been here for the last 3 years. This has been an incredible journey. I will be doing, as a couple things to celebrate, but one of them is an AMA, so if you have any questions for me, I put up a text post about that, and you can go leave questions about games, about personal stuff, about what the life is like doing YouTube for the last couple years. So thank you for watching, everyone. Let's get into the game here. Alright, so the Necrobinder has very good rare cards on average, I think. So Arcane Scroll, I think, is better on the Necrobinder than on many other classes. Precise Scissors is, of course, always great, especially because the Necrobinder's starter cards are very strong. Both Bodyguard and Unleash are just very good cards, so drawing them more frequently is very good. And Cursed Pearl can be good if we have... I like Cursed Pearl if we have multiple easily accessible shops early. Basically, so that if you can remove 2 strikes with some of the money and essentially get a card removal out of it, as well as maybe some extra value. We do have 2 shops on the right here, but it necessitates taking a bunch of random hallway fights, which I don't love. So I think here we're going to go for Arcane Scroll and see what we get. We got Squeeze. This is a very expensive card, but does do a lot of damage. It's 3 for 30 damage. So in the early game, this is a pretty nice card to have. Taking a look at our path here, we have a few options. I could go to the left. As always, we're looking to minimize the number of hallway fights that we're taking. That's non-elite fights, because after the 3rd that you take, they get harder and the rewards don't get better. So usually your pathing in the current balance of the game should just be to strive to avoid as many of those as possible. So we could do something like this. And then we get 1 hard mode fight here. We get 2 elites and a shop. So that's a relatively clean looking path. We could go up the middle like so, and that's 2 fights, 3 fights, and then it kind of intersects. So we basically get the same thing, but with an event instead of a shop. And then all of these paths to the right are just worse overall. So the question is, would I rather have a shop or an event? And I think mostly I would rather have a shop, so the path to the left looks strongest here. All right. So here we can just go maximum damage, because it's not attacking on the first turn, the Shrinker Beetle. One of the nice things, of course, about playing the Necrobinder is that even effects like weakness or the Shrinker Beetle effect don't change Osti's damage. So when we play Squeeze here, Osti's going to do full damage, and we win the fight immediately. Okay, so we got a couple cards that were changed in the update. Borrowed Time was changed and then reverted. So this still does what it did before, but briefly there was a period where you couldn't get 2 energy out of it on the upgrade. This is still an extremely strong card and the key card for many of the infinite combos available to the Necrobinder. Defy was also changed. It used to give 2 weakness when upgraded and was incredible. It's still pretty powerful. 6 block and 1 weakness is a really good defensive card. And if you get it upgraded, 9 block and 1 weakness is an incredible defensive card. Overall, though, while I love Defy, I think Borrowed Time goes in too many really powerful shells and also works really well with Squeeze, because being able to actually cast Squeeze is going to be a big deal. And having the extra energy can let us do that, so we're going to take Borrowed Time there. Looking at our event here, Share Knowledge, I think, is almost always the right pick from the Brain Leech. Yes, you have to take one of the cards, but with 5 cards on offer, and they're random cards, so they can be anything. There's always going to be something pretty good that you can get here. A few options. So pull aggro was changed a little. The numbers on this were buffed a bit. Drain power, I always really like to have early. Blight Strike is a pretty good Strike Plus card, just to get you through the early game. Death's Door is really good. This also works with Borrowed Time because you apply Doom to yourself. So this is a really strong defensive card. And Delay I like a lot as well, though we don't need it as much since we have Borrowed Time for increased energy. So I actually think that you could make a pretty decent argument for any of these cards. Given what we have currently, we have a lot of cards that benefit very heavily from upgrades, so I'm going to pick up Drain Power. I really like having one of these in the deck, because not only is it strong in the early game, just as a 1-cost 10 damage card, it works really well against bosses and elites and stuff, just by making your deck stronger just as you play cards. At the shop here... Oh, really interesting. So almost always I would be removing a strike here, but we found some pretty excellent cards, and it might be better to just buy some stuff. Grave Warden and Defy are both still excellent. Blight Strike is good earlier, but we already have Drain Power and Squeeze, so we don't need Blight Strike so much. I'm strongly considering just taking Grave Warden and Defy, though, because these are really key cards for the Necrobinder. Grave Warden was also changed. It no longer gives you a Soul Plus when upgraded, and instead just gives you some more block. That means you no longer have to spend an upgrade on Grave Warden, basically. But it's still an incredible card. So I think we are going to take the 2 defensive cards here, and now we're kind of set on our deck. We do have some extra strikes. The deck is getting a little bit larger than normally I would aim for at this point in the game. But we have 2 really strong defensive cards and 2 early game offensive cards, and 1 card that will help scale in the form of Borrowed Time. So we're, I think, in great shape at the moment. The Tablet of Truth. We could heal for 20 or lose 3 max HP and upgrade a random card. Random upgrades this early are pretty good, because even upgrading a strike is fine, so we're just going to take Decipher here. And Borrowed Time is the card that we wanted to upgrade. I will also do Continue Deciphering, and upgrading a Defend is great. And then I don't want to lose more maximum health. I think you can, at the Tablet of Truth, click this 2 or 3 times, but typically shouldn't click it more than that, obviously. And in this case, we're going to stop at 2. We don't have that many cards that we really need to upgrade, because Borrowed Time is the best card in the deck to upgrade. And an upgraded Defend is a nice thing to have, so we're stopping there. And 57 health, obviously, is a little low, and will hurt our resting and everything. Alright, so here we get to go Grave Warden, Bodyguard, Strike. Take a little damage on Asti, but that's fine. 7 incoming damage this turn, and I only have the 1 block, so we will use our soul to try to find a little more block, because I want to conserve Asti's health against this enemy. And then we can actually play everything here. So the question is, what order do I want to play Drain Power in? I think I would rather upgrade Unleash than... So, Bodyguard is the card I want to upgrade the most. It's already in the discard. Grave Warden isn't a bad upgrade. The strikes are kind of irrelevant. I think Unleash is better than the average, so we're going to play that first, then play Drain Power to upgrade a couple cards in the discard, and then we're going to play Borrowed Time and play all of our other cards here. And when you have Drain Power, of course, you should think about what order you want to play it in, and when you want to upgrade cards. So Negative Pulse, I like a reasonable amount as well. This is a decent blocking card with a decent Doom effect, and of course Doom is really strong. Dirge was changed so that it now exhausts. Previously it didn't, but I think that this card is still very good. And I also like the change to exhausting, because most other X-cost effects like this that just increase your deck quality exhaust, and so it makes it more in line with how other cards like this work. I'll still take Dirge, I think it's very good, and one of the nice things about it too is in a fight where because it exhausts, is in a fight where you don't want it, you can always just cast it for 0 and get it out of your deck. Then we're going to go take an elite fight. Kind of a tough elite fight for us to face here, but Defy is very good against this enemy, and then we'll play Strike. The Berdanis is not the one that we wanted to fight because it just attacks a bunch every turn, which our deck isn't great at dealing with currently. So we're going to go Borrowed Time for sure. 15 incoming damage. I'm always playing Defend. And we're going to take a little damage and lose some health on Asti. But I could do Dirge for 4, and that would summon 12. And then we wouldn't take any damage on Asti. I could also play Unleash first, but I think just Dirging for the maximum. We prevent any damage, we fill our deck with souls, which is great. And we keep Asti's health high for future turns as well. So here, I'm going to play Drain Power before I play other cards. I guess I can play the Soul first and see what else we're working with. And yeah, because I would play Bodyguard before playing Drain Power. So if we draw into that, then we'll do it in that order. And then I'll play Bodyguard, Drain Power on this enemy. We have to start damaging it. And we're going to lose all the health on Asti this turn. Nothing that I can do about that currently. But I'll play Defend to conserve my health. This is where Defy not being able to provide weakness for multiple turns is significantly worse, of course. I'm going to try to draw past these strikes and draw into better cards here. And Defend and Bodyguard can block some damage. Is there something else I would rather draw into? I guess if we draw into Borrowed Time, that's really strong. So I will play the Soul here. And Grave Warden is just straight up better than the Defend, so we'll play both of those. Keep some health on Asti, then we've got 23 damage incoming this turn. Not much that I can do about that, but I can at least do a bunch of damage. So let's play Borrowed Time, Squeeze, Drain Power, and Unleash, and didn't see what I upgraded with the Drain Power there. We hit Squeeze, it looks like, and Grave Warden. Okay, pretty good hits. Then we take a big hit here. We would be in better shape against just about any other elite, but this elite was going to be pretty tough, kind of no matter what. Now I just need to redraw into Squeeze. We have no souls left in the deck currently, but let's just play some defensive cards and minimize damage until we draw enough damage to kill the Berdanis, and then we can play Squeeze. So we took a lot of damage there, of course, thanks to rolling a pretty tough fight. But we made it through the elite fight, and getting a relatively early elite is nice. The Horn Cleat is also a really nice relic here. And then, interesting set of cards as well. A second Defy, of course, is pretty good defensively. Reeve is a decent offensive card, though I don't need that as much. And I could start setting up for the... So Lethality is good both because it's an ethereal card and it just does extra damage on all of your attacks. I think I'll take Lethality here. If we want, we can maybe go into some ethereal card synergy, and we can also obviously just do more damage with it. So here we've got our last easy mode fight. Let's start with... I'm considering whether I want to use this potion just to kill the Twig Slime. But I think we'll have enough damage, so I'll just play Grave Warden. I'll play Defy, of course, to keep it in the deck. And not a great opening hand for us, but we do skew pretty heavily defensive with our current card setup. I would love it if we had drawn Borrowed Time this turn, because I could play Squeeze. I could Unleash killing this enemy, and then play Dirge. We have 14 block here, so I could also just play the Squeeze. I guess that's still better. We'll just kill the big enemy. I also don't want to redraw Dirge, so I'll exhaust it, though that probably won't matter. This turn, I can play... don't have quite lethal, right? 50% extra damage here. Oh, no, I do, because I can go Lethality, Borrowed Time, Drain Power on this enemy for 50% extra damage, and then Strike. And we figured out a lethal there. Took me a second, but I got there. Enfeebling Touch, a solid defensive card, but I'm almost always going to take Grave Warden over it. Putting souls in the deck is just so incredible. Rattle is interesting. Given that I have Squeeze, we could also go for an Osti attacking strategy, but I think just building up a stockpile of Grave Wardens is more important at this point. Here, unfortunately, because we rolled into the Berdanis, I have to rest. I don't think I can afford to upgrade at this campfire, because if we get another hard elite, we could be in trouble. Beating Remnant usually will not come up, so not a great, given our low max HP, so not a great relic for us. And then let's go to this event. A couple options here. So extra block on one of our Grave Wardens or whatever would be good. Usually, though, if I have a 1-cost power when I roll the self-help book, I always take Swift, because adding Draw 2 to a power just makes it so much easier to set it up without it costing you anything significant. Then we'll go to an event here. I can't afford to lose 18 health, so we're just going to take the 37 gold. I would love to be able to get greedy, but we've got 2 fights upcoming, and again, this is kind of a tough enemy for us to face. Do I want to keep the Defy in the deck? I think I do. The Bygone Effigy does a lot of damage, so keeping Defy in the deck matters a lot. I can guarantee upgrading Defy and Grave Warden. It means not casting Dirge this turn, but I think that's fine. So we'll go Defy, Grave Warden, Drain Power. Then do I want to keep Dirge? I don't think we'll have a chance to play this for value, so I would rather not redraw it, so we're just going to exhaust it for 0 here. This turn, I didn't draw Borrowed Time, but Squeeze is still a lot of damage against the Grave Warden, so, or against the Bygone Effigy. If I had Borrowed Time, this would be like a perfect turn, because we could go Strike, Squeeze. But as is, the question is, would I rather set up a Soul in the discard or do more damage? I think we're just going to do a bunch of damage here. I'm also almost certainly using the Doom Potion against this enemy, but no need to do that right away. Here, we're going to try to conserve our health a bit. And take a big hit here. This turn, I can draw into... I can play Lethality and draw some cards. We have Borrowed Time, so drawing a lot is good this turn. I can draw more with the Soul. And then I'm going to play Borrowed Time for sure. I can play Squeeze for a bunch of damage, so I could play like Grave Warden into Squeeze. And that's a huge amount of damage, because we've set up the slow for more damage, and we've got our 50% bonus from Lethality as well. So we're going to go Grave Warden. Actually, can I kill the enemy this turn? No chance. But I can get it low enough that the Doom Potion will finish it off, I think. So we'll play Squeeze, and then... I could keep my Doom Potion, because I do have the Explosive M-Pool, so all I need to do is draw Drain Power. Yeah, it's impossible for me not to draw enough damage to kill the enemy this turn. And Doom Potion is better than the Explosive, so I will take the hit here, and then we can just draw into basically any damage source and the Explosive Potion, and kill the enemy. Actually, I could have saved my potion there as well, because I forgot about the lethality, so waste of the explosive potion, not a big deal. Big Hat. At the start of each combat, add 2 random ethereal cards into your hand. This is great. I really like this relic. It's, because they're ethereal, if you don't play them, if you don't want them, you just don't play them, and then they don't come back. And this is a really strong addition to your opening hand, giving you a lot of options. This setup, I could take Pull Aggro. I think we're fine on blocking cards, so I'm just gonna skip here, I think. Flatten could be okay with, like, Squeeze, but And Fear does work with the Ethereal deck, but we have no payoffs for Ethereal cards currently. Just a couple ways to add them, so I think we're just skipping here. Then we'll go take a fight. This could be a tough fight. Okay, so we got Enfeebling Touch. We're going to let that etherealize. Seance is worth spending an energy on this turn compared to using a strike. I'll just remove another strike and then play 2 strikes for the Fogmog. The Eye with Teeth, of course, very dangerous. This turn, I'm going to start with Lethality. I could play Grave Warden first, but I want to draw into a strike so I can kill the Eye with Teeth, or just some damage card here, without having to waste my Drain Power on it. I didn't, but here I can go... I do want to play Bodyguard and Grave Warden, and I'll use Borrowed Time. And then I'm going to play Drain Power on this enemy, because I wanted to upgrade those cards. Fogmog will attack, that's fine. Here I can play a Soul first, and then another one, I think. Drew into Squeeze, which is worth a bunch of damage, but did not draw into Borrowed Time to be able to play it and other stuff this turn. So let's just go with Defy, Grave Warden, and I'll allow the Eye with Teeth to put stuff into the deck this turn, because I want to play Unleash on the Fogmog, and we're also going to remove Dirge from the deck. So we'll take some Dazes, which is fine. This turn, I've got enough blocks, so I can go Grave Warden, Drain Power on this enemy before I play the Strike, because I don't want to upgrade the Strike. And then I've got enough block, so I can Strike and prevent the Dazes. Because we're, at this point, just kind of drawing into Seance or Unleash. Or not Seance, what's the card? Squeeze. So let's start with... I could start with Seance and turn my Strike into a different card. But let's just play the Soul and then play another Soul here. Because I'm just trying to draw into some damaging cards. We drew double Daze. I could do 13 plus 6 damage, so not enough to kill the Fogmog this turn. So let's play Bodyguard. We'll strike the big enemy. And do I want to allow Dazes into the deck? I could play Defend to make sure Unleash kills it. I think we're fine allowing Dazes. We'll just put it down to 11 health here, and then we should be able to kill it. And Asti will tank the damage, of course. Only 9 damage on my strike this turn, unfortunately. But we have enough damage here, or enough block here. Yeah, I'm just gonna block a bunch. And we're guaranteed to draw into Unleash or Drain Power or Squeeze this turn and finish the fight. Alright, so clean fight there. I could take Reanimate. I haven't actually tried Reanimate that much. But I think Reanimate is kind of an interesting card, and we do have a Borrowed Time to allow us to play it more easily. So this one is a little more of an experiment, but being able to build up a lot of stats on Asti is both fun and pretty powerful. Alright, Enfeebling Touch was a great ethereal card to get this turn. Seance, of course, is always good. So I'm going to start with Seance here, and we'll transform one of our strikes into a soul. I'm going to play Borrowed Time. I'll Enfeebling Touch this enemy, and then we'll play Grave Warden, Unleash, and Strike. Rolling into a fight here was unlucky, because we're probably going to take some damage. Lethality, I wouldn't be able to play Squeeze if I played Lethality this turn anyways, but it is close to doing enough damage. And then I will play the Defy. That's enough block. And I'll play the Soul and play Bodyguard. No need to play this other Soul. We're just building stats on Asti here. Our attacks cost extra this turn, which is fine. We can just do some blocking. So we're going to do Defend. And I'm going to play Dirge twice, I think, over playing the Defend. It only blocks 2 less, but we get an extra soul in the deck. And while we lose a little bit of health on Asti, better to be able to draw more here. We're always going to play Grave Warden, so I'm going to start with that so we can draw more souls. And then I'll play a soul, play another one. Play another one because I'm looking for Borrowed Time, so I can play the Reanimate here. And then I will play Borrowed Time. I'll play Reanimate. And I can let the Enfeebling Touch disintegrate and just will Etherealize a strike. This turn, let's start with a soul. And Squeeze is 45 damage. I don't have Borrowed Time currently in the deck, but Unleash is a bunch of damage as well. So we're not going to play Squeeze this turn because it doesn't quite kill the enemy. We'll play Defy here, and I'll play this soul, play Bodyguard, play Drain Power, and now Unleash should be lethal when we draw back into it. And we got a clean 0 damage taken Vine Shambler fight. Take the Power Potion, and then let's see what we get here. If I'm worried about having enough damage for Phantom, Reap, or Reave, all of these are possible options. These having Retain makes them a lot better when you draw into them, even though they're relatively low value cards. They're pretty inefficient, but you only have to draw them once if you don't want to play them. Reave, of course, adding souls is good, and it can be upgraded to add soul pluses, which, since Grave Warden no longer does that, you might want a Reave for that function. Overall, though, I think that these cards are slightly too low value, so we're going to skip them, and then we're going to go rest. And we'll fight Phantom here. So I'm going to use my Power Potion. Oh, we got Domain as our as one of our ethereal cards, which is great. It does mean taking a little damage, but that's fine. I am going to use the Power Potion as well. Some interesting options here. So I can block some damage. If I take Spirit of Ash, I get to kind of block some damage immediately, because we're going to play Domain, and that will allow me to get 4 blocks. So that's 4 block immediately. Call of the Void is pretty good as well. I do think that this deck needs like a few more cards in order to have the really easiest boss fight. So Call of the Void is one way that we could do that. And Countdown is just constant effective damage to the enemy. We don't have any synergy with Doom, but it's kind of like getting a Noxious Fumes. I think, though, for this fight, what I want is Call of the Void. Because I am worried about just having enough good cards. And then I will take a little bit of damage to set up Domain, and we'll play Call of the Void here. Let a couple cards etherealize there, which included my Defy, which was a real cost, but I think that was fine, because we have Call of the Void. Putrefy is... no, it was Lethality that I let etherealize. So maybe I should have played that, actually. I blanked on that having ethereal, so obviously an error there. Putrefy is going to be very solid, though. I'm going to play that. I'll play Defy, because I want to keep that in the deck. And I'll play Dirge twice. I'm not ticking down the Phantom currently, but adding 2 souls and getting some health on Asti, I think, is pretty nice as well. Now we've got 22 incoming damage this turn. We did get a Dirge as our Call of the Void card, which is kind of funny. I'm going to go Borrowed Time and Reanimate. And I think I will play the Soul here. Trying to draw into some more defense to keep Asti's health high. I could also just play Dirge for 3. I think the upgraded Defend is good enough, but I am just going to play Dirge twice here. More souls in the deck. We've made our deck pretty solid, so even though I am losing some value by not taking down the Slippery, we've really improved our deck currently. We do, of course, have the wounds, but we should be able to remove those. Reaper form is also great. That's going to make the fight a little bit faster. So I'm going to play the Reaper form for sure. I could play Bodyguard or just Drain Power. I'll play a Soul here, and I guess if I'm playing Souls, the only thing I'm drawing into is drawing towards is Borrowed Time, and I might accidentally draw Defy as well, so I shouldn't actually be playing the Souls there. This fight we're going to take very slow as it happens. Alright, Severance is quite good for us. So here I can go Severance, add a soul into hand, and I will use it. And because we have Borrowed Time in hand. I'll play Borrowed Time. I will play Defend to conserve Osti's health, and then I need to start hitting Phantom. So I think I'll lose 2 health on Osti so I can play Strike, Strike, Unleash. Obviously, we're not getting a ton of damage, and Reaper isn't doing anything because it's based on the damage you actually do, but it's still important to start ticking down the Slippery. Enfeebling Touch, we're definitely keeping against this enemy. We'll play Grave Warden for more souls in the deck. Defy, I also want to keep against this enemy, and then I am just going to play a Strike. No need to play a soul here. Right hand. Whenever you play a card that costs 2 or more, return it to my hand from the discard. This is worth playing for sure, because it ticks Slippery off and it costs 0. We'll play a Soul here, and then I can play double Grave Warden, Defend, and Strike. We're definitely taking a very slow Phantom fight, and the wounds will start ticking up, but eventually, because we have Call of the Void, we were going to draw into Seance, which is kind of what I was waiting for, because now I can start removing wounds as well, and Drain Power can potentially upgrade Seance also. And yeah, no point in playing Squeeze. I will play a Soul here because I want to draw into another attack, and then one more because I need something to do with my energy this turn. Okay, actually this is even better. So I can go Drain Power. I don't need to upgrade Unleash, I don't think. So I'll play Drain Power before Unleash because I want to hit Seance was the card I wanted to hit the most. And then here I can play Unleash as well, because it does less damage than Squeeze. Play Borrowed Time, play Squeeze, and we've done a bunch of Doom, and we get that back as well. And then this turn, we'll play Defy. We got another Dirge as well, which is really fun. Which I think I'm just going to play for the maximum value here. And that also lets me replay right hand. No need to do anything else. We'll take a little damage on Osti. But his health is so high that we're in great shape for this fight. Eradicate has Retain, but also Ethereal. Because it came from Call of the Void, which gives everything Ethereal. So, not going to be great currently. Let's play Severance, adding more souls to the deck. We'll play right hand, and then I'm going to draw with my souls. Eradicate would do 22 damage, which would be doubled to 44, so that's 113 total. So one short of killing the enemy if I double cast Eradicate. So I'll play a soul here, play another one, get a reshuffle, and I could replay Severance, but I think I do want to play the Enfeebling Touch this turn, and I'll just play the Eradicate. Put it at 80 Doom. I can also save my potion here. $34 incoming damage this turn, but we should get enough block. So I'll go right that we don't take any damage. Oh, actually, I'm going to take 4. But the enemy will die at the end of this turn anyways. I probably could have arranged to not take that 4 with tighter play in this fight. But overall, I'm still pretty happy with that Phantom fight, and I think Call of the Void really showed its power there as the card we got from our power potion. We only took 4 damage, so we'll gain back most of our health. And that was a pretty solid Act 1. Clarity Extract, a nice potion, and let's see what we got here. So it is maybe a little too late for the Scythe. I do really like the Scythe. Shared Fate works okay, because while it reduces our strength, it doesn't reduce Osti's strength, so his damage will still be high. We don't yet have a real plan for actually killing the enemy currently. Lethality and Unleash is kind of our main plan, with like Squeeze as a backup. So the Scythe is tempting from that perspective, but it takes so many plays to get this really high. Think I am going to skip here. There's an argument for any of these cards, but none of them particularly fit what we're doing with this deck. I either need more ways to boost Osti's health or more ways to deal a bunch of damage or doom. So not a great set of rares for us, and we're just going to skip. So, jumping in for Act 2, I actually got somewhat busy the day that I started this run, so we're coming back a full day later. So both to remind myself, and because I think it's a useful exercise, I'm going to take a minute at the beginning of Act 2 here to go over the deck, talk about what we need to do in order to power it up, where we're at the moment, and what we're missing to make this deck as strong as possible. So, looking at the cards that we have, the big thing that I notice about this deck currently is we're really solid on defensive cards. We have double Grave Warden, we have Defy, which is an excellent defensive card as well. We have Dirge for some relatively flexible defensive power, because we can play this when we have extra energy left over. And we have Reanimate for a big spike of defense alongside the natural defense that the Necrobinder gets. What we're missing is ways to scale into longer fights. Squeeze and Unleash are not enough damage and drain power. So we're going to need a little bit more in the way of damage, whether that's Doom application like Countdown or Reaper or something like that, or anything that can help us scale. We could also, this deck is still a little large because we haven't removed any strikes, but if we manage to get ways to exhaust cards, this could easily transition into an infinite combo. With Grave Wardens and everything like that, we've already got ways to create souls, so Capture Soul and Borrowed Time would be something that we could do. So there's a lot of ways that this deck could progress, but what we're really looking for is a win condition. We have a lot of the ingredients that we need up to that point. So I think it's kind of useful to go over the thinking at the beginning of Act 2 and talk about what we need from this point forward. All right, so let's go in and we will talk to the Hoarder here. Okay. So remove 2 cards from the deck is great. We definitely need card removals. Transform 3 cards and then upgrade them. I would probably do the Astrolabe over the Empty Cage here. We don't have anything that particularly needs the deck to be super thin right now. Obviously, it's always good to thin your deck, but we are looking for some scaling cards. So Transform and Upgrade gives us more total power level than removing 2 cards. Or we could go with Forbidden Grimoire. And Forbidden Grimoire, we would definitely take over Empty Cage, because this would let us get our deck as small as possible by removing a strike basically every combat. It would incentivize us to take a lot of combats in Act 2, but Forbidden Grimoire is incredibly powerful. So it's between Astrolabe and the Grimoire. I think we're just going to take the Grimoire. This is just such an extremely strong card, and it's going to make the deck so much stronger as we continue to progress it. Given that I want to take some combats, because now we have free card removal basically every combat, I still don't want to do this track. That is too many combats in a row, and we would just lose too much health, and then we have to take like another elite fight. There's just not enough ways to recover our HP along that track, and we would lose too much of it. This track looks okay. We could do 2 fights and then an elite, and then we could decide on some combats at the end here if we want to. Or we could do the center and do a shop, maybe a second fight here if I wanted to. I could then meet back up with this track or go to the left. if I want to avoid a hard mode hallway fight, in Act 2 and 3, after your first 2 hallway fights, they get harder. So we could swing to the right here, go back. Let me clear this. So I could do fight, shop, event, and then fight, elite, and then do another fight here. And then we get 4 card removals with the Grimoire, which is enough to get all the strikes out of our deck. So that's what we really need at this point. And we also get to avoid hard mode hallway fights up until here, which is pretty good. We get 2 shops. So I'm liking this track overall. Let's go ahead and jump into our first fight. All right, well, it's definitely a brutal fight for this deck. We do not have a lot of damage for the Thieving Hopper, so it's very likely, I think, that we lose a card here. Enfeebling Touch, I could... so we also get our 2 ethereal cards from the big hat here. I'm always playing the Lethality and drawing 2 cards, so we'll start with that, and then... What could it steal here? I really don't want it to steal, obviously, the Forbidden Grimoire. That's our elite reward. I don't want it to steal our Borrowed Time. If it steals Dirge, I'm not devastated. It will tend to steal rarer cards of the Thieving Hopper. It always targets rarer cards. But without a lot of damage, I don't know that there's much that I can do about that. So let's go ahead and play Defy. That'll prevent the most incoming damage. And then I'm going to let the Fear get discarded, and we'll just play Grave Warden here, and we'll see what the enemy is going after. And it's going after Dirge. So I'm actually okay with letting it take Dirge. We would rather have Dirge in the deck, but if we can't kill the enemy in time, we're fine letting it thin. So I'm going to go ahead and play Forbidden Grimoire and then Bodyguard Unleash here. And then this turn I have, I guess, just defend, and Drain Power. Doesn't really matter what order I play these in as well, because... although, I guess I shouldn't have risked upgrading the defense, so that was a mistake. Let's play a Soul here, and then Reanimate will block all the damage, so I will play Reanimate, and then I am going to use my Borrowed Time. I could do Strike, and potentially stun the enemy next turn, and then maybe we have a chance of killing it. And I'll use my Doom Potion if we do enough damage to stun it here. So with Strike and Unleash, we can stun it. So let's go Bodyguard, Strike, Unleash, and then it's going to try to flee again next turn. I don't have... it won't die to the Doom Potion, so I think we are still losing our Dirge here. I don't think that there's a way... Oh no, with Squeeze I can do 45 damage, and we'll take the Dirge back. Okay, so that actually worked out very well. We will take the Dirge back. We'll go ahead and add another card to my deck. I'm very happy to add an Invoke. This is a very powerful card. 3 energy next turn for 1 is pretty good value, and it gives you some block in addition to that. So really good long-term value card, and then we will remove one of these strikes, and the deck has gotten significantly better. Also, I just realized I recorded all that without changing my audio source, because I'm a professional. So apologies if the game sound was weird for the first couple minutes of Act 2. Alright, we're going to the shop here. So I no longer really need to buy card removal. We still could if we want to remove cards faster. But the big thing that I want is to find ways to scale into later stages of the fight. And we actually found a couple that are really strong. Scourge is one of the ways that we can end up with infinite combos. Scourge and Borrowed Time can loop together in order to apply a bunch of doom to the enemy. Now, it's only a pseudo-infinite because eventually you'll stack up enough Borrowed Time that you die, enough doom on yourself from Borrowed Time that you die. But Scourge is still a really good card for this character. Joss Paper works amazingly for the Necrobinder because it works off of souls, so you get extra card draw by using souls. And Wing Charm is not bad either for longer term value, but I think what we're going to do here is we're going to buy Scourge and Shroud. giving myself some stronger scaling. And then I don't really need any of these other cards. I'm going to save my money because we're likely to take at least one more shop in this act. And then the question is, would I rather take a fight here and get an extra card removal with Forbidden Grimoire and an extra card reward, which we do still want, or would I rather take an event? I think I'm still just going to take the event. We're getting 2 fights here, and that's removing 2 cards, and events are just good. And typically, you can avoid losing too much health in them. Alright, the doll room, I think usually you should choose to lose 5 HP, because there's some doll relics that are pretty dangerous, but being able to choose between 2 is usually enough. So we'll go ahead and lose 5, and we could do Mr. Struggles. That is a way to scale some damage into longer fights. Typically, a fight is going to last, I don't know, maybe 5 turns, in which case it only does 15 damage. But a boss fight might last 8 to 10 turns, where the damage starts to actually be somewhat significant. Daughter of the Wind, we will be playing attacks relatively frequently, and free block is always good. But I think for this character, I actually do want Mr. Struggles, just for a little bit of extra damage in longer fights, something that we specifically called out that we were looking for. Just a quick sanity check here as well. Is there any reason to go to the right off of this path? I don't think so, so we're going to keep committing to the left. Got a random fight, so it didn't matter which I chose, because we ended up with an event fight anyways. So here, I have 13 incoming damage, and I definitely want to play the Forbidden Grimoire this turn. So I'm going to let Seance and Parse disintegrate, and we'll play Forbidden Grimoire. Do I want to play the Scourge? I could Defy and prevent some damage, and play Grave Warden. Because Defy will prevent 4 damage, and then it's basically a block for 10. Because if I weaken this enemy, it prevents 4 damage there, and then also blocks for 6. Scourge applying Doom to these enemies is also pretty nice, and something that I definitely want to do as well. But I think for this fight, I'm gonna play it a little slower, and we'll go with Defy on this enemy and Grave Warden. Block all the damage and add a soul to the deck. I also don't want to redraw Dirge, so we'll exhaust that. And we're pretty happy to take these slower fights because we have the Horn Cleat and we have Mr. Struggles, so if we delay a fight, then we're doing well. I'll draw 2 cards with the Soul here. 20 incoming damage, so I should play 1 blocking card. Let's play Lethality. And then I'll play Grave Warden, and do I want to play Unleash or set up Invoke? Let's just set up Invoke. We save all our health on Asti, and we also are going to get some block and a lot more energy that we can spend next turn. This turn, let's start with a Soul, and we'll see what we draw into. Okay, nice. I'll set up Shroud as well, and I'll play Reanimate will exhaust, so I guess I'll play that anyways. And let's hit the one that is gaining Strength. It only does 9 damage, but we should be able to take it out pretty soon. And then I'll save a little bit of health on Asti rather than playing a Strike. We're doing 4 damage now. 20 incoming damage from the Exoskeleton this turn is definitely dangerous. With Strike plus Drain Power, I can kill it, and then we only take a little bit of damage on Asti. So let's start with Bodyguard. I guess I will upgrade Strike and Drain Power. So we'll start with Bodyguard, and then it doesn't matter which order I play these in. It's only 9 damage regardless, so we're playing the Strike first so that we upgrade it. Oh, I could have played Borrowed Time for 2 block there and saved 2 health on Asti as well. Definitely a trick that's worth keeping in mind. And it doesn't matter for this fight, but something to definitely carry into later fights. I'm hitting this enemy as well because it'll die, and then this one will also be low enough that we can kill it in 1 card because it'll be under 9 health. Let's take the money here. I think I want the Heart of Iron more than the Doom Potion, and given that, I guess I should have used the Doom Potion earlier, but we'll take Heart of Iron here. We'll add a card. Do I want a third Grave Warden? Generally, I think I'll add as many Grave Wardens to the deck as I can, and the great thing, too, is if we end up with too many, like we end up wanting to go for a really thin Infinite deck, we have the ability to remove a card every combat, so we can really thin those back out. I'm going to take this fight over the shop, because we're getting another shop later on, and we only have 150, and fights are really good for us right now. So even though this is a hard mode elite fight, which typically you should try to avoid, it's extremely strong for us right now, because we have a benefit specifically from taking fights. Yeah, I'll play the Lethality. I'll play Scourge and draw a card. I also need to upgrade Scourge as soon as possible. And I'll play the other Lethality. And then I'll play Borrowed Time. I'm going to let the Enfeebling Touch lapse. I think that's fine. So let's just go Bodyguard. Or do I play double Dirge here? Because I could play Unleash for double damage, which is pretty strong. That's a lot of damage. But being able to play Dirge, get some more health on Asti, and get some souls in the deck, I think is correct. And yeah, we lose the Enfeebling Touch there, like we talked about. Alright, so here I will play my Shroud, and I don't need to play the Soul if I'm playing Grave Warden Defy. We can't kill these eggs, probably. I'm definitely playing Grave Warden. Do I want to keep Defy in the deck? It is pretty powerful, but we also need some damage. So I think what we're going to do is we'll play Grave Warden, then I am going to use my Soul. And then here I could set up Forbidden Grimoire. I could also play Invoke. I think I'm going to play the Invoke. We'll have another turn to set up the Grimoire. The fight will go long enough for that. And these enemies are all hatching, so we need to be able to have enough block, enough health on Asti, and enough energy in order to be able to either kill them or block all the incoming damage. Let's start here with a Grave Warden, and then we'll play a Soul. And then I definitely want to play Squeeze, killing one of these enemies. So let's kill... Actually, 60 damage. Maybe I just don't bother killing them and we take some damage on Asti instead. Because we're doing double damage with our attacks, with the first attack we play. So Squeeze on the Avocopter here. If we redraw into Squeeze now, we just win the fight immediately. So instead, we'll just block all the incoming damage and set up to kill this enemy by redrawing Squeeze. And then with triple Soul, that should be relatively easy. Do I want to play the Drain Power first to get upgrades? If I end up playing Drain Power, we'll be able to play other cards that we want to upgrade first. So let's play Soul, Soul. Oh yeah, I definitely want the Forbidden Grimoire out as well. I'm going to play another Soul. Do I want to play the Grave Warden first? We have no souls in the deck currently. If I draw into Borrowed Time, then I can play Forbidden Grimoire and Reanimate and prevent all the damage. If I don't draw into Borrowed Time specifically, then playing Grave Warden first is better. So let's play Grave Warden first. We'll play the Soul here. And then now I'm going to play the Forbidden Grimoire. And we'll take some damage on Asti here. We have 21 total block. But with Invoke, we should be able to draw into either enough block or Squeeze to win the fight. And so we'll just let Asti take some hits this turn. And then this turn, I can go... we can just play all our defensive cards. I didn't draw into any attack. And I was hoping to draw into some way to either kill one of these enemies to prevent a little bit of incoming damage, or obviously Squeeze to kill the Avocopter. So maybe I played this unnecessarily riskily. with all of this block, we would be taking a lot of damage here. So let's drink a Clarity Potion, play a Soul. We'll play a Scourge on one of these enemies as well. And then I can Borrowed Time and play another Defend. And that should be enough block here. We're taking 21, 52 damage with 45 block. So I could use the Heart of Iron just to block 7 damage as well. That's probably worth it. Honestly, very badly played fight from me so far, but we did prevent that damage and I redrew into Squeeze. Basically, because I messed up my sequencing there, it just cost me my potions, which obviously I would have wanted for the elite, but we're able to recover. And when you mess up, the important thing is to focus on making sure that you recover in a reasonable way. I'll take Spur here. I think that that's a totally fine card to add to this deck. Just getting more health on Asti is always good, and this, I think, is one of the best cards for building up Asti, because it's 1 energy for +8, and with Retain, it doesn't really hurt your deck to have it in it, and then we'll just keep removing strikes. And then we're going for the elite. Okay, so this is definitely the hardest elite that we could have rolled, I think, because we have very little AoE damage. We have Mr. Struggles here. I also messed up really badly, I think, in the last fight by using my potions. I really, either of those 2 potions would have been really nice in this Decimillipede fight, so maybe especially using the Heart of Iron was bad there, because it would have prevented a lot more damage this fight than the 7 I got out of it last fight. Let's play... I need to draw some cards, so I'll play Lethality, and I guess we're playing Defy this turn, and Grave Warden to prevent the maximum amount of damage here. Take 8. This turn... we have, if I kill this enemy, so I have Squeeze with Lethality, 45 damage. If I kill this enemy, I only take 2. That seems pretty good. It resets the strength gain on this segment of the millipede. It's also probably easier than trying to block all of the incoming damage, because obviously we have 32 damage. I could block it all, because I do have extra block here, but resetting the strength gain on that one, only taking 2, and getting it down to 25, because it'll regenerate back up to 25, I think is pretty good. This turn, I'm always playing Defy, and I guess it's Invoke and Defend. I could play the Forbidden Grimoire just to remove it from my deck here, but we would take 5 extra damage. So rather than do that, we'll tank a little damage here and try to set up for future turns. It is unfortunate that Borrowed Time was so low in the deck. If we'd gotten that earlier, when I could have used it to like play Reanimate or whatever, or Squeeze plus some other cards, that would have been really strong. But obviously you have to play the cards you're dealt. Let's play Shroud here first, and then I'll play Borrowed Time, which does give me 2 block, because we're applying some Doom. We'll play Grave Warden. I'll play Drain Power on, I guess, the low health Decimillipede, because I'd like to kill it again here. We're going into turn 5, so Mr. Struggles will be 5 damage, so it won't kill it just off of that. But then we'll play Dirge, putting a bunch of souls in the deck. And then here, we're losing some more health on us. Asti's resetting. Not being able to snowball Asti's health ahead of the curve is what is really causing me problems. But also, if I had like the Heart of Iron potion, Asti would be full health and we'd be cruising through this fight. So massive mistake misusing my potion in the last fight. Let's use a soul here. Do I want to play Grave Warden before casting a soul or after? I don't think we're going to use every soul that's in our hand, so if I play the Grave Warden, I would rather put one in the deck for next turn. So let's go ahead and play the soul, and we'll get a reshuffle here. Okay, we got another Grave Warden. So now I'm going to play Grave Warden, and no, I'm just going to play a Soul here, because I want to draw into Borrowed Time, and I want Souls in the deck for next turn. So let's play a Soul, and then I need to play one more. And then we drew Drain Power and Defy, and I do have enough damage that I can kill this Decimillipede, like we could play a Strike on it if I wanted to. Let's go ahead and play Defy on the enemy that's attacking for the most. And then I could just play double Grave Warden here, and that would be 25 block. Is that right? 16 plus 9 is 25 for the 17... 24 incoming damage. So, yeah, I guess we'll just do Grave Warden here. I could have used Drain Power hitting this enemy, but it's dying next turn anyways, so I think the most important thing is putting more souls in, because our win condition in this fight is drawing into Borrowed Time and playing like a big reanimate, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, we missed again here. So let's start with Defy, and then that'll make the math easier. So 14, 23 incoming damage. Grave Warden would put me up to 17 block, and then Defend is 22. So we would be taking some damage if I do it that way. But I'd be shuffling some stuff into the deck and taking up Mr. Struggles here, so I guess I will do that. Still losing health on Osti, because Reanimate showed up on the wrong turn. But he's at least we didn't take any damage. And then this turn, I have 20 damage. I have Borrowed Time. So I could play Squeeze, killing the enemy that's attacking for the most. And then Defend Bodyguard is enough block. Actually, I might even be able to play Forbidden Grimoire this turn, because I'm adding some Doom as well. Adding some block with Doom as well. So let's play Borrowed Time first, and then I'll play Squeeze, and I'm hitting the lower health enemy here just because it's the one attacking for the most damage. Then I will play Defend, and we've got 13 damage. Do I want to play Bodyguard, Spur, or Forbidden Grimoire? Bodyguard is better than Spur because it doesn't have Retain, and Spur is only 4 health on Osti. But I think that the Bodyguard is the play here. Alright, so now our Mr. Struggles is really starting to count up, which is good. Let's play a Soul. And I'll play Spur into Unleash, probably, killing one of these. And then, is Drain Power enough to kill the other? It's not, because I'm weakened. But I could just play Spur, Unleash, Invoke. Let's go ahead and play a Soul, and play another Soul here. And we'll see what we draw into. We drew into Defy. And Forbidden Grimoire as well. I'll play one more Soul to see if I can draw Borrowed Time. We didn't. So now, Unleash is enough damage to kill the 11 health, the enemy that's attacking for 11. So I'll do that for sure. And then Grave Warden or Defy. I guess I can play Defy here. And then Drain Power is not enough damage. Let's go ahead and play the Forbidden Grimoire just to get it out of the deck, because we definitely want to play it. I've got one Soul in the deck and one in hand to try to draw into Borrowed Time. That doesn't seem good enough, so we're going to go ahead and end turn here. But we're saving health on Osti and ticking up our Mr. Struggles. 7 incoming damage on each enemy. I've got 6 damage from Strike, so Squeeze is not enough to win this fight. Let's just go ahead and play the Reanimate here. It's going to be the most health on Osti, and Mr. Struggles is going to deal with this Decimillipede and get this one pretty low as well. And then I can go for a Soul. Need to draw another card, probably. I have 12. 28 incoming damage. This is a very complex fight, actually. Kind of a fun one. I'll play Grave Warden, Spur, because now it's worth the full 8 health on Asti. I'll play the Scourge here on that enemy, and then I'll play a Soul here, doing the redraw, and then I can play Borrowed Time, another Grave Warden, and a Bodyguard. That blocks all of the incoming damage. I don't need to play Unleash this turn, because our Mr. Struggles will kill the enemy, and then with an attack, we win the fight. 16 health remaining. That was a tough fight. A lot of complexity to it. I almost certainly could have played it better. The big thing was I needed my potions from the last fight, which I messed up on. But we made it through, and we have a campsite coming up. Deathbringer is pretty good here. Weakening all the enemies is really nice. Applying a bunch of Doom is something that we are interested in as well. We do need to find more ways to block, and more ways to draw cards, and another Borrowed Time would be really nice. So I'm a little hesitant to just add cards like this, but Weakness is so good that I think it is worth doing. I also almost clicked through the removing a strike there, which would have been bad, but we did manage to do that. Okay, so I do have another elite fight coming up. I need to rest before that, but it shouldn't be one that's as difficult as the one we just faced, because I think that was probably the hardest one for us. Let's see what we get in the chest. We got Letter Opener. We will often play 3 skills in a single turn. Pen Nib we're not going to use so much. But let's take another fight here. Alright, so this enemy is not terrible for us, just because we're not doing that many attacks. I would love to be able to play the Reanimate, but I don't think I can this turn, because I would also really like to play Seance and start removing some cards and exchanging them with souls. I also wish that I had rolled into a weakness effect in my opening hand here, because it's so effective on the Entomancer. Let's start with Scourge, and we'll see what we draw into. Actually, I guess if I'm playing Scourge, I should play Seance first. So I'll play Seance. I'll turn one of my defends into a soul. Then I'll play Scourge, drawing a card here, and we'll play Grave Warden, and that's it. And we're going to take a bunch of damage this turn, more than if I had played the Reanimate. But I did get some cards set up, which is really important for this fight, I think. Maybe the Reanimate was just right there, though. So here, let's go ahead and play Grave Warden into Lethality, because I want to draw 2 cards. We have enough block this turn as well. And then I'll play the Invoke this turn. Here, I kind of have to play Defy, because I do want to keep it in the deck. Really bad turn to draw the Borrowed Time in on a turn where we're not really attacking, but I'll play Drain Power, getting some card upgrades, Shroud and Grave Warden. We put 1 Daze in the deck, but that's fine. And then I'm just going to use my energy and play the Spur here. Oh, I missed 5 damage by not playing the Defend there as well. Should have done that. Here, let's go Soul, Grave Warden, Soul. And then I can trigger a reshuffle by drawing again. We've got 17 block for 32 incoming damage, so obviously nowhere near enough currently. And I don't have a way to draw at the moment. I think I'm going to let the Seance time out. I don't think we can afford to spend 1 on that. 25 total health between me and Asti here. I could play Unleash, I could play Defend, I could play Invoke. I think we need to Invoke, otherwise we're not going to ever get ahead. Alright, this turn is very good for me. We finally drew some good cards here. So we'll play the Defy, and we'll play Reanimate. And I'll play Deathbringer to stack the weakness a little longer and keep Doom on the Entomancer. Here, let's go ahead and play Shroud. I'll get the Forbidden Grimoire into play, and I'll play a Grave Warden as well. Would I rather have a Soul in the deck or just more health on Asti? I guess just more health on Asti. So we'll just play that and heal him up. And then here, Squeeze is only 45 damage. Let's start with, I guess, the Grave Warden plus. We're taking 40 this turn, so I need to be able to deal with that. I will then play a Soul here. Drawing into Borrowed Time is really nice. I'll play the Borrowed Time because I'm always doing that. We've got 39 block currently for 40 incoming damage, so I just need a little more block, which we'll get by playing Scourge. So let's play the Scourge, and then if I play Squeeze, that's enough damage to put the enemy within Doom range. And so we win the fight, taking another pretty substantial hit against this enemy. You can see what I talked about where I need some scaling, but also I need to stop messing up these fights so badly. End of Days is an interesting option. That's a way that we could win this fight. We don't have enough ways to really apply Doom that well, though, to make End of Days good. I think I'm going to skip on all of these. Oh, I fully skipped my my card removal. I would have removed a Defend there. Okay, playing too fast. Have to slow that down, of course. I would have removed a Defend there, but let's go ahead and take a rest here. Just clicking through the reward screen too quickly. We definitely cannot fight to obtain the key. My health is too low, and we have another fight as well. And currently the deck is kind of not come together the way that I would have liked it to. So, trying to play around the fact that we're a little weaker than I had hoped. Let's go ahead and... I can play Parse here because we have Borrowed Time. So, I'll start with that. Draw some cards, and then I'll play Defy on this enemy. I'm definitely playing the Borrowed Time. I'll play a Defend. I'll play Forbidden Grimoire. Just get that out there. Ripple Basin is currently working, so I would gain 4 block. But I don't need the 4 blocks, so let's just play an Unleash, and we'll do a little bit of damage to the Chomper enemy here. 18 damage incoming this turn, so I could play Shroud and Deathbringer. That would get me some block. It doesn't weaken the Chomper, but actually, I guess we only apply Doom once, so it's 2 block, and we would be taking 18 damage. So we would take none, Asti would die. Other options here, we don't have lethality set up, so Squeeze is not enough damage yet. Defy doesn't weaken this enemy, so it's just some block. So I think I'm going to let the Defy get disintegrated, and we will just make the Deathbringer play. Lose Asti's health. I also don't think I want to redraw Dirge in this fight. This enemy is now doing a gigantic attack, but that's okay. We can play Grave Warden, Scourge on the Tunneler, because I really want to add some Doom to that guy. And then Bodyguard. Taking a little bit of damage here. I would love to draw into... I guess if I play Lethality, then I would need to draw both Borrowed Time and Squeeze in order to be able to play that and knock the Tunneler out. Lethality is still, I believe, the right play here, because I do need to roll into more stuff. Reanimate is not enough block currently. So we need to roll into some way to either break the Tunneler's block, or we need to roll into enough defenses that we can survive. This turn, let's go with 2 Grave Wardens. We didn't draw into the cards that we really needed in this spot, but we don't die yet. But I can no longer play Borrowed Time without dying, which is definitely a problem. Let's play our Squeeze, because I need to stun that enemy. And then, do I want to play the Souls? No, because I can't play Borrowed Time anyways. And then here, I need to play Parse, because I have to draw into enough defenses that we don't die. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's a way to survive. So I think I messed up this this run badly enough that I don't have an out at this point. Definitely a lot of stuff that I could have done differently. But I really needed to build some more damage cards of some kind into our setup earlier. So some interesting decision points, also some pretty bad fights. Also, if I had just taken, like, this fight better, then we'd have been in pretty good shape, I think, overall, and maybe I should have just gone to the shop instead, rather than take that fight, which was somewhat risky, but also I played it extremely badly. So that is, I think, what ended up getting me in this one. So it looks like we're dead here. Let's go ahead and die to the Doom, because that's funnier. And we'll play Drain Power and Defend. And then we get to die to the Doom. Defeated. A nap sounds good. And that is, I think, the first run that I've lost that I've tried to record. So hopefully we'll give you guys some insight into how we lost. So looking at the deck, honestly, I think this deck was pretty good. I played it pretty badly. Forbidden Grimoire wasn't as good as I had hoped it would be, because it did remove all the strikes, but it sometimes cost me HP when we drew it as a dead draw. And we were very light on upgrades, was the other thing. We didn't have enough block in a lot of these cases. Easy ways to apply weakness, we didn't have either, and Defy was our only good weakness card. We ended up extremely reliant on Borrowed Time, but with a deck not thin enough to find Borrowed Time often enough, and with too many 3-cost cards. Like the Reanimate was terrible, so I probably should have just skipped that card reward. And the Squeeze was obviously good in the early game, but ended up being a pretty dead card later on. So definitely some changes that I would have made. I think mostly it was I needed to find a plan earlier, and that's what ended up costing me here. But that's the run. All right, my friends, hope that you've enjoyed seeing, a loss. As always, of course, if you have enjoyed the video, then feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Slay the Spire 2, hopefully with a win next time, and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.